Once a deity or murti energized with energy ever go down, or does it stay at the same level forever? If you heat it or break it, it goes away. Otherwise, it doesn't go. Heating it means like a melting or breaking. Otherwise, it stays forever. How about energy from samadhi? Energy from samadhi never goes down. It radiates. Will science ever reach to the level of demystifying the spirituality completely? No. Impossible. They can go on remystifying one component. That's all. See, even my enlightenment, they can't demystify the whole enlightenment process, but they can demystify each component. See, now I explained 4-5 components to them, like a boundarylessness and intense excitement. Those components they demystified. They said, yes, it is quantifiable, measurable. It is a normal brain and this brain. There is a big difference. And that sharp decision making, understanding, that frontal lobe, they are able to demystify the components of enlightenment, but not enlightenment itself. So they may be able to demystify the components of spirituality, but not the whole spiritual base itself. Please explain why you seem to be surprised by what your energy does to your devotees. Because I don't take myself for granted. I retain myself in an innocent space. You understand? I am not that arrogant, all-knowing, egoistic. So, I don't take myself for granted. Oh, still I have enlightenment. Great. Still it is radiating. Great. Because, see, real enlightenment is neither you will have a doubt whether you are enlightened or not, nor you will have the claim that you are enlightened. Nor you will have that ego, you are enlightened. Just, you will be there and it will be radiating. So, you will appreciate that radiation every moment. Wow, still beautiful things are happening around me. Wow, still the existence decides me as the center. Wow, still it has not lost trust on me. Still it is trusting me. Still it is choosing me to play its game. That is why more than you, I experience, I enjoy your transformation. Maybe unrelated, but I am fascinated by your explanation of light-based and sound-based civilizations. In that context, what category do native and pagan civilizations fall under? Mayans, Aztecs, Native Americans, Australians. They all fall under the sound-based civilization. They all fall under sound-based civilization. That caused them to be completely obliterated compared with ancient Vedic civilization that is still alive. They all are offshoots of Vedic civilization. Somehow, all the components of the Vedic civilization, they were not able to reproduce. So it disappeared. See, there is Parabrahma Nityananda, the cosmic Nityananda. That's like this kerchief, whole cosmos. There is a Nityananda talking to you. That is the thread hanging in this corner of this kerchief. The kerchief is not separate from the thread, but thread is not the same thing as kerchief. When all the people pray from different places, there is an automatic mechanism to respond directly to them. That's what is Parabrahma Nityananda. See, the thread which is hanging, the Nityananda talking to you, does not have control over the incident, but can download the information. That incident I don't have control, please understand. But I can download that information, where it is happening, how it is happening, and tell you. So praying to my photograph or praying to my murti is equal to directly asking me. There is no difference. Then you are asking, why everyday darshan? See, darshan is a very strong process, like awakening the Jivan Mukti experiences in you. I think for that, physically touching only makes you understand that you will cooperate to that process. You will have that strong vidarka only by physically touching. Just with photograph to create that vidarka will take 2-3 years. So, physically, it will happen much more quickly. That is why this physical everyday darshan. Please explain the difference between religion, spirituality, superstition. The techniques practiced with intensity is spirituality. Techniques done without intensity is religion. Techniques completely messed up is superstition. Yesterday when you created the Vidarka energy in here during meditation, I felt soothing waves of energy and could smell sweet fruits and incense in the air. Thank you for the magical experience. You make my life beautiful. I have longed for this my whole life. Thank you, Master. I can feel the healing power of Vidarka. Great. Understand? When you feel the energy, your senses will become sensitive and you will start feeling these divine visions, divine smell, divine sound, divine taste in the body. That is usual. It means you are really growing. Whole throat will feel so deeply sweet. When you especially chant the mantras, work on mantras, the whole throat, then you can be sure that mantra is working on you. I went through an acupuncture process. They put you inside a big bell and they will rub that bell. You will feel almost like each pore needles being inserted. There will not be any needles and all, but each pore you will feel the needles being inserted. They almost like melt your body through sound. Through sound they melt your body, and there is one small hole through which they give you little water and air comes. They rub that bell. They will cover you with that big cup. There will be holes in the top for the air circulation. That is made out of a metal. It is called ori. That metal name is. They will rub that bell with a small wooden stick. They will sit, some 10 people will sit around and they will rub. It won't even create sound. It will create a kind of a vibration. Ooh, it will be just all your pores will be penetrated with that, and they will go on doing this for 8-10 hours per day. So in few days your whole body will melt into that sound. Your whole body will feel in tune with that sound. Then they will chant words like you are hungerless, you are free from all the disease. It's almost like a programming the body. They chant all the verses. You will be always in peace. You will always be in bliss. You will always radiate joy. They chant all these things. It gets recorded into your muscle memory. It's a very powerful process. It's almost like directly working on your muscle memory. If you want to have acupuncture, you should have from them. They are very good at the whole art. You guys can have the effect of that Agnya penetration by keeping this turmeric. See, this kumkum is nothing but the processed turmeric. This processed turmeric does that same job of constantly creating awareness in the third eye. What they are trying to do through that penetration, actually end of the process, they give you the turmeric only, processed turmeric only. They put that on the third eye, it heals, then they recommend that every day you use the turmeric. That's the way I started using. That is the way I am telling our people to use. It's a powerful science. It's not, you see, somehow it got associated with Hinduism because Hindus have started practicing it. But it does not mean that it belongs to Hindus or it's a ownership of Hindus. So, see, it's like this light was invented by somebody who is a Christian, but you can't say only Christians can use the light. Once it is invented, it's for the whole world. Same way, these are all the light, inner world light. So once it is discovered, it belongs to the whole world. Person who discovered may be Hindu. That does not mean the whole thing belongs to Hindus. Anybody can use. The processed turmeric, you see, turmeric will go through a natural process. There is they will add the lime and do all the natural process. That only is kumkum. Regarding 2012 and 2015, when the higher consciousness energy comes, end in December 2012, the individuals who have not, their consciousness will fall into depression. Will the individuals have more anger and violence in them? See, people who can handle, you see, it is a physical phenomenon. Like a reduction in thoughts is going to be the physical phenomena happening on people. How they deal it depends on individual. If you deal that less number, if you celebrate that being less thoughtful, you will jump into enlightenment. If you curse, oh, I am having less thought, I don't know what happened, I am feeling dull, dumb, low, curse, then it will become depression. See, the effect is going to be same on everybody. How you convert it and use it is dependent on the individual person. I was not surprised But in US, I was really surprised. And I was shocked by hearing another one thing. Only 17% of US population has passport. Means only 17% goes out of their country. I was surprised. So even that kind of a low-level man who doesn't explore the world, who just takes birth and dies, even they will be able to feel the benefit of this low number of thoughts, or the experience this low number of thoughts by 2015. That's what I mean. It's a physical phenomena, straight away happening. At least 3 to 5 gram weight you will reduce. Even if you are same weight, physically 3 to 5 gram, scale will show less. And there are a lot of researches also going on about this. Krishna Medichella is asking, there are so many incarnations here at the same time, and is it because of Kali Yuga? Yes, it's just because. See, on one more statement which you are saying, that at no time in past there was more than one avatar at the same time. No, it was lie. Balrama and Krishna was same at the same time. Parasurama and Rama were at the same time. They met each other. Varaha Avatara and Venkateshwara, they met each other. Both of them are incarnations. See, Varaha Avatara, you had been to Tirupati? You will see Varaha temple. Varaha, he was the incarnation of Vishnu. He was the owner of the whole Tirupati. He gave place for Venkateshwara. Venkateshwara is the incarnation again. So, the past, there were only one incarnation, was not the truth. And Buddha and Mahavir were at the same time. I can give you thousands of examples. Krishna and Balram, same time. Rama and Parasuram, same time. Buddha and Mahavir, same time. And Varaha and Venkateshwara, same time. So, even earlier it was not the case. And now also it will not be the case. It's actually not because of Kali Yuga. Always there were many incarnations. If you tell the kids about the memory concept, the way, see, incarnation is nothing but a person who is enlightened and lands in the body. That's all. Who lands in the body and moves the body without losing the higher consciousness, without losing the continuity or connection with higher consciousness. That's all. So, millions can land on the planet Earth. Nothing wrong. Well, it is a different yuga. I don't know all that. I am not able to say it's a different yuga and all. I am only saying from my personal experience what is happening. I do not know the side effects and after effects of that whole. See, this gravity getting lesser and lesser on your inner space, I directly saw in my experience, so I am sharing. But I am not attributing, I am not attesting, acknowledging all the Mayans theories of 2012 and all. Because I do not know all those things. I personally feel the world is not going to end. It is not going to disappear. It is not going, there is no natural calamity or anything going to happen. That's what I personally feel. So I am not able to acknowledge all that Mayans theory, the 2012 and all that. Whatever I am saying, the research and experience which I had, that's all. So I can't say it will be new Yuga Mandal. No, surely not. Surely not. At least 4-5 lakh more years are there. Even as per the calculation. If you ask me existentially it never is going to disappear. It's never going to disappear. Because always the avatar Purushas are going to walk on the planet Earth, and just for their sake, the Bhudevi, the Bhu energy is going to be alive, exist. So, I can't say that even after a few 100,000 years, the planet will end. No. Maybe we will go through a drastic change, like how whole dinosaurs disappeared. That kind of maybe drastic changes may happen after 200,000-300,000 years. But the existence of life will not disappear from planet Earth. If you tell the kids about the memory concept, the way you explained us, meaning don't accept anything beyond table memory, and then ask them to study that, they might say that this is being forced and their table memory can't handle it. Understand? Help them to expand the table memory. How? Why the Vedic kids are studying so much? 100,000 slokas they just repeat without any reference or book. How come? Expand the table memory. That's all. What is the difference in you when you come for the sessions and when you come for the darshan? Experientially there is no difference. In the expression, there will be little difference. Like experientially, it is same, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Expression, that will express through the words when I am giving the sessions. In the darshan, it expresses through my body itself. It's like a radiating through the very body. So I'll have different tools in my hand, that's all. When I come for the session, when I give sessions, the walk will be the tool I will bring. Walk will be the tool with which I am working. When I am giving the darshan, the bio-memory, the body will be the tool with which I am working. The purpose is different. Na? So the tools differ, but I am same. If mind, thoughts, samskaras are to be dropped and they are not good, why God gave it? Which really makes the life more complicated. God did not give, you created it. If you guys will do everything and dump the blame on God. I always tell now, one guy came to Kalpataru and asked me, I am in poverty. I asked, why? He said 14 kids. I asked, why did you get? He just looked into my eyes and said, God gave. And another one shocking thing was, he addressed me, oh God. I looked at him and said, God came and did everything. He understood, he realized, and he just went away. Then I caught hold of him. I did not let him go. I said, I can't tell you about the past. I can at least help in future not accumulating more poverty. He said, what can I do? I told, buy a TV and keep in your house. He said, why TV, Swamiji? I said, let you have some other entertainment, go in your life. I work with the unemployed. In recent years, through work, I have come to access a sharp increase in number of people who are depressed and are very aggressive. I feel sad and very alarmed. What could an individual in the community to do help? Please teach them unclutching little ma. That will completely heal their nervous system. The violence will disappear. Actually, you guys will learn unclutching and how to teach unclutching in this whole program. You can pick up. See, when memory loses, you will feel all these things are falling apart. When you see that the memory is not required, you will feel all these things are no more solid, like a solid. They all lose their boundary. When you change, this changes. So, if you have felt that way or if you are feeling that way, enjoy it and entertain it. Do not resist. You have said before that when we get bored, our mind drops. Can you explain this more? Because when I get bored, my mind wanders more. This is the problem of that logical bringing up. You understand? When you are bored, you are supposed to be not doing anything and unclutch. But you have a deep hatred for boredom. That you see, there was only two way of lifestyle evolved. One is this, the infrastructure based. Another one is Vedic civilization, the Indian based. It's the thoughtlessness. For all the Western civilizations, that civilization go on encouraging thinking. And naturally boredom means something against. So when boredom comes, you start, and automatically you start resisting it, trying to do more things. Instead, unclutch and settle down. It's just a condition. According to Hindu philosophy, at the beginning of creation, Atma separated from Paramatma to take human birth. At that time, Atmas were pure. Why did God decided to separate Atman from him? At the time of their first human birth, if Atman were pure, why did they acquire papas and continue to go through birth and life cycles? I cannot understand why Atma separated the first time. This Atma struggled to reach Paramatma again. In this theory, is this theory really correct? If so, what is the reason for the first separation from Atma from Paramatma? The theory is not correct. What is your explanation for the birth life cycles of Atma? First thing, this theory is correct for I can say the mediocre logic. It is not ultimate truth. This theory is not ultimate truth. This theory can solve a lot of questions of the mediocre brain. That's why this theory was created. If you ask my explanation, the process happens in a different plane. The question is raised in different logic. This question does not apply in that level. You understand what I am saying? The many questions which we ask here do not even apply in USA. They are not even applicable. Same way, the very question which you ask here are not even applicable. When I reside in the superconsciousness, I don't have this question. When I come and talk to you, in this plane, this question is there. But even if I carry this question to that plane, that question dissolves. It is not even applicable. It's like an ant asking elephant, why did God paint you also in my color itself? Come on, answer. That elephant will not even listen. You understand? The level in which your question raises, that level in which the process happens are so vast and different. The very idea that Paramatman becomes separate from Atman, I am not able to believe. It is still the part. Only the idea of separation exists. So every word, the meaning of your meaning and my meaning differs. That's where the problem is. So ultimately this question cannot be answered by ordinary logic.